Yo, what up, guys? Let me fix my mic. Yep, everything should be good. What up, guys? Hopefully, y'all guys doing good on Friday. End of the week, guys. So, man, ready for the weekend. Dude, I've been busy this week, man. Like crazy, crazy busy. Getting a lot of things done. Um, Again, it's one of those deals, man. You kind of see how everything's going, right? Big tech companies laying people off still. Um, and to some degree, man, you gotta be thankful, right? That one is still busy. Like again, I don't work for a company, work for myself. So ultimately I get business, I get work from clients. And if they stop giving me work, then I start to lose money. So having my clients give, I'm getting more projects, more work, and things of that nature, man. It works out for the best. So can't complain, man. Very thankful to be busy, especially in this time with the economy being slow. And yeah, guys, hopefully y'all keeping busy as well, and um, y'all have not been affected by a lot of the layoffs and stuff that have been happening. Hey, what's up, man? Hello there. How you doing? Hopefully you're doing good on this Friday night. Dude, I'm doing real good myself. Can't complain. Just here for me, it's the middle of the day still, so I'm still working. Actually been working on a few things. One of the things I need to look into really is I need to log on to one of my client servers to see if the process completed. We had issues with some data. So we have there's a process that it's a piece of software called Q Cubes. Not sure if any of y'all have heard of it or not. All right, cool. It's successful. Let me make sure the task scheduler run. So what it is, they use QuickBooks, and I don't know if anybody ever used QuickBooks Enterprise, but it's not as easy to extract data out of it, right? For the purpose of reporting and doing and things of that nature. So there's this application called it's called Q Cubes. And ultimately what that application does is it's pretty much a connector to the QuickBook Enterprise system through ODBC. So it's able to connect to it and access all of the APIs in order to query the data. So there's a process where that job runs, the quick QCube job runs, and ultimately it extracts all of the QuickBooks Enterprise data out and puts it into a local database, and ultimately I'm able to connect to that database through ODBC. And then I created a process where I extract that data from the ODBC, and then I send it over to AWS S3 in an S3 bucket. And then from there, it's able to get ETL'd and get, load it to a database, and it gets reported to Power BI. For some reason, man, that job is like that QQ software. It's very funky. Like it's buggy, put it that way, man. Like sometimes it works well, sometimes it doesn't. When it doesn't, you got to rerun the job. Either way, there were some issues happening there. So my client asked me if I could take a look into it. And I was looking into it earlier, but I had to wait till the job finished running, the QQ's job. And now that I'm looking at it, it did finish running. So now I ran my process. So also the way I have it set up is when the QQ jobs run, because that's a whole different system. That's a proprietary application. It has nothing to do with me, but it runs on my client server. And when it runs, it refreshes the data, the local database. And then that's where I created a task scheduler in Windows. And then when that job runs, it's scheduled to run like every 4 hours, I believe. It's able to pull, ultimately what it's doing is running some Python scripts, and the Python scripts, one of them is querying that ODBC database, and then I'm able to pull all the data that I need, save it into a CSV format, and then the final step is pushing all of that data up to AWS S3. So I push it up to AWS S3, and then from there I got some jobs that run that ultimately loads the data to the database, and then I have Power BI connected to the database in order to run any kind of reports. So there's a lot of steps, I guess, going on, but it was kind of the workaround we had to do because QuickBook Enterprise doesn't have an actual database that you could connect to. You have to kind of have a process to extract the data, and that's kind of where that QCube system comes in. It extracts it and it puts it into a local database. But again, it's local. You can't connect to it either externally. So that's where I had to export the data and push it out to an S3 bucket. Yeah, great. Good to see you. I appreciate it, man. Well, thanks for joining the stream. And so yeah, that's kind of, I'm just checking, make sure that that's working, because I know that job failed like 2 days ago, and I know they're kind of waiting to run some reports. So all right, I think everything's done now. So now that this is done, I'm going to log into my server, right? So I was logged into my client server. Now I'm going to log into my server. On my server, I have this tool, I mentioned it before, called Visual Crones. And what it's doing, I think I could probably share what I have here. I think, trying to make sure there's nothing of importance, I guess. Okay, no, I think it should be good. So let me go ahead and I'll share my screen real quick. So I have this, the software that I use called Visual Crones, and this software, allows us to do a lot of scheduling of jobs, right? And there's a lot of stuff you could do with this piece of software. Send out emails, connect to databases, call procedures or so forth. Run, command line. I mean, the list goes on. You connect to SharePoint. You can get data from SharePoint. I believe Google Drive, all kinds of other services that will send out messages to Slack. You can build triggers. When a file gets added to a folder, it triggers the job and it does X, Y, and Z. So, I mean, dude, I like it. There's a lot of stuff you can do with it. So ultimately, this is a job I'm going to go ahead and run. When is the next run time? 11 p.m. So yeah, we're a few hours away. So let me go ahead and run it now. And ultimately what this job is doing is truncating our staging tables, and it's running the AWS Glue jobs. As you could tell, right? AWS Glue. So I have a handful of AWS Glue jobs where it's taking the S3 data and then it's loading to the database, pretty much what these jobs is doing. And then once it loads it to the staging database, we got some procedures that we run. The reason why I had to wait 4 minutes is when these run, these all get executed. Some of these may actually take a minute or 2 or even 3 minutes for it to load into the database. But as you could tell, it showed that it's complete. All it's doing is just executing the command, right? So it's running the command to start the job, but it doesn't really tell us when the job finishes. So based on just some timing that I have done, normally it takes about 2-3 minutes. So that's why I will wait 4 minutes to give it time to finish loading. And then I will execute my procedures. So that's kind of what I'm doing here, right? Awesome tool, dude. I have no complaints about the tool. This software is it does run locally, right? You got to run it on some kind of machine, whether it be local computer or server. But because of that, it does give you some additional benefits, as if you got, again, files locally on that computer, on that server, that get modified. You could have triggers to trigger off of that. You're able to run some command line interfaces commands as well. There's all kinds of stuff you could do that's running locally, right? So very powerful for sure. So that's running. Once that finishes running, I'm gonna check the database to make sure we got fresh data, and then ultimately gonna email the client, let them know like, hey, everything's good now. Kind of go from there. So I had one of my viewers email me actually, and they emailed me about they have an Excel file that's password protected. And that's something to keep in mind, guys. When there's two kind of versions of Excel password protection. You have where you could password protect the sheet, or you could password protect the file. The difference is when you password protect the sheet, it's still a normal Excel file, like an XML file. And ultimately inside the file, like inside the XML configuration, that is where it applies the password to allow you to like modify or unlock it and so forth. Yeah, to allow you to unlock it, modify it, and so forth. But when you password protect the actual file, it's actually it's encrypting your file, which means in order to unlock it, you need to have that password. And then without it, you cannot unlock it, man. It's done deal. So I had a viewer reach out to me. They provided me with their Excel file. I created a video related to this a while back, which is the Excel brute force attack. So ultimately, it's a process where it's literally checking every single random password. I have a file that has like 5 million different passwords, like popular passwords. So, but one of the things that he did mention though, the viewer that reached out to me is he normally uses a keyword in his passwords, but I think he changes maybe a few things that he adds on to it. So he gave me that keyword, and so I started looking into, all right, let me build different possibilities on that keyword, right? So let's say the keyword, as an example, is I don't know, I'm gonna make up something, but let's just say the keyword could be Apple, right? They just said the Apple, and what I'm working on now is building a script that will give us multiple combinations of using the word Apple, but adding numbers, other characters, special characters. So this goes on, a lot of different random possibilities. And that'll allow me to generate a long list of different options, different possibilities with values in front of the word Apple, values behind like at the end of the word Apple, values front and the back and the end of the word Apple, which means it's going to be probably millions of combinations. But ultimately, I think once I build that, I'll be able to run it through my script to see if I have success brute forcing attack that Excel file. So I'm kind of doing that on the side and see what I could do. Hey, what up, Joshy? How y'all guys doing? Hopefully y'all guys doing good, man. It's Friday for me. I'm not sure if it's Saturday for y'all or Friday still, or Friday night maybe. But yeah, man, it's Friday daytime for me. And I am actually working right now. Let me check. I'm checking if data, there it goes. Boom, I got fresh data. So I was fixing a problem with one of my clients' issues. How I mentioned, they use QuickBook Enterprise. There's a process to refresh data into a local database. That piece wasn't working. Got it to work now. And now I have a process where I extract that data, load it to S3 bucket, and then I have AWS glue job that ultimately loads that data to a database. Now that I'm looking at the database, data there. So I think we're all good now. So I'm gonna go ahead and message the client and let them know that everything's good. All right, cool. So message them. They're good. Hopefully y'all guys doing good, man. Not sure what y'all guys have planned this weekend, but again, hopefully y'all doing something that y'all like, whether that be work or not work. I actually have a busy weekend. It's my daughter's birthdays. So her birthday's Sunday, but we're throwing her a party Saturday. But we're also going to be throwing her a party Sunday. Again, my wife, she wants to throw her a party on her actual birthday. So we got two parties, one Saturday and then one Sunday. So yeah, it's going to be a busy day. Weekend, put it that way. Let's see. Okay, so now I got that done. Now I'm going to jump on something else. So there's something else that I'm about to jump on is I'm going to be working now on where's my database? Let me open that up. I need to find the email as well. Dude, I've been getting so much spam email, and it's like very obvious, dude. It's like in your face, obvious that it's spam. Like the quality of the body of the message just looks crappy. You could always tell by the email extensions that it's like, hey, this doesn't seem legit at all. Yeah. And then in this case, it says this message is high priority. Like, dude, I'm not clicking on this link. Let's see. I'm just curious, what does it show? It shows it's a JSP URL. Yeah, dude. I mean, I'm pretty sure I'm not the only one, but dude, I swear, man, I feel like I've been getting so much, and I'm not talking about my personal account either. This is my work email, which is crazy, man. All right, so let me jump on to the next thing. So the next thing is, let me open up my database. So we had this issue. This is an integration project that we actually went live like maybe a month ago or so. There's a system called CargoWise. I'm not sure if any of you are familiar. It's a WMS or ERP system, right? The shipments, warehousing, accounting, and all that stuff. It's pretty popular, but again, it's not like SAP popular or Salesforce popular. It's one of those systems that you don't see commercials on, and it's not marketed in that manner, but it's very popular in the industry. A lot of people know about it, use it, and yeah. So that's the system they use. One of their customers wanted to they wanted to receive events being shipment events, like when a container gets imported in. Once it leaves the port, that's an event, like it left the port. Once it arrived at, let's say, the US port, that's another event. Once it delivers, that's another event. Like those are all events, right? No different than like FedEx or something like that, right? When a shipment leaves, you get all the tracking. But in this case, we had issues where sometimes shipments have what's called multiple legs. They before they even start heading to the US, they're going from Vietnam to, I don't know, I'm just making up stuff, but like Vietnam to Korea, and then Korea to China, and then to China, then to the US or something like that. So you have different movements, then eventually comes to the US. Well, for those events, we had issues with the integration. So that's kind of where I need to look at the logic and see what we could do to fix that issue, pretty much. But you know what? I'm logged into the wrong database. I need to log into dev. We have all of this in dev. All right, cool. Let me make sure that we do have this in dev. We should anyways. I don't know why we wouldn't. There it goes. Jordan events. Yep. So we do got this in dev. I may be able to share some of this. I'm just trying to make sure there's nothing of value here that I shouldn't be showing, I guess. Let's see. All right, cool. So, all right. So let's take a look at it. Let me review the issue in more detail now. I know we have an example. I need to find this example now. Let's see. Because I think this is the one that we had all those issues with. But you know what? It's only going to be in production. So let me see if I could find it first in production. Where is this at? What container? Whoa, what happened here, man? There it goes. I was about to say. Something to keep in mind, guys. This is more FYI. Follow me if you can on YouTube. For people that are followers of mine here on this channel. Again, the channel's growing slowly, but it's growing, obviously, but it is growing. Once I hit 10K subscribers, which is not too far away, but I mean, still need a little bit more, another 7,000 or so. But either way, once I hit 7K, I am gonna be doing a giveaway to celebrate the 10K milestone. And the giveaway that I'm gonna be doing is I'm gonna be giving away a Mac Mini, which they're actually pretty powerful, man. For what you get. I have a Mac Studio here, and it's awesome, dude. And the new Mac Mini with the M2 chips on it, dude, I mean, for development wise, it's more than enough power to be able to run a VM, again, code, do that kind of stuff. So again, follow me if you can here on YouTube. Anybody who is following me, that's going to be a giveaway I'm going to do when I hit 10K, guys, when I hit 10K subscribers. So just putting that out there. And so ask anybody, man, you got friends, invite them to my channel, man, have them subscribe. I appreciate it. So let's see. Let's get back to it. So, okay, I did re-trigger that. Let me see, what are my dates on here? Yeah, this would have been a while back. Yep, on the 21st of this week. So let me see what's happening here. I guess let me see if this delivered already. Oh, it's already an older shipment. That's why. It is. Hey, what's up, man? What's up? What's up? How are you? I'm doing good. How about yourself? Ready for the weekend? Because for you, it's already what, Friday night, right? It's already late. So you got your weekend started already. I'm doing good. Got a busy weekend. This weekend for sure. It's my daughter's birthday, but her birthday is not until Sunday. So we're throwing a party for her tomorrow. And then on Sunday, the wife's throwing a party for her Sunday as well. So we got two parties. So yeah, man, it's gonna be a busy weekend for sure. But I'm doing good. Right now, yeah, we have a long. You have a long weekend too. Um, I'm working on this project, this integration project, and we have an issue. I have an issue where, so my client, they do import shipments, and we have integration as status changes, right? Will you be live? The party. Would I be streaming on the party? No, I'm not gonna stream on the party. So no streaming for the party. It's gonna be early in the morning. Like, so the first tomorrow, it's gonna be like at 10:30 in the morning. It's at some location. And then on Sunday, I think it's gonna be around like 1:30 in the afternoon, around this time, but Sunday. But yeah, no streaming. I would have to. I can't, but I gotta do a lot of effort if I really want to do it, and I really don't want to put that effort. So like, nah, no streaming, not for that. So let's see. I'm looking at the email, trying to see what the client, just to make sure I understand what the client is looking for here. So what they're saying is, okay, here it goes. Oh, happy birthday. Appreciate it, man. Appreciate it. Exactly, man. Many more for sure. So one thing I mentioned earlier in the stream. So one of the things I'm going to be doing, again, my channel is growing slowly, but it's growing, and I'm getting decent, consistent followers. You could say, right, every week, every day, put it that way. So it's growing. It's nice. There's some consistency there. So one of the milestones that I set is 10K. Right now, I'm like, I don't know where I'm at, but I'm like 2,600 subscribers, followers. But whenever I hit 10K subscribers, I'm going to be doing a giveaway. I'm going to be giving away a Mac Mini with the M2 chip in it. So, and this will be for anybody. Doesn't matter where you're at, in the world. So, I'm taking shipping into consideration because I know it's not going to be cheap. But yeah, man, just putting it out there. It's going to be a giveaway to my followers only, right? So you got to be a follower. But once I hit the 10K mark, that's going to be a milestone that I set a goal. And then as an appreciation, I'm going to be doing a giveaway. And that's going to be the giveaway, a Mac Mini, once I hit the 10K mark. So anybody who's following will automatically get entered in if they're interested in it, for sure. So 10K, hopefully we'll get there by the end of the year. We'll see, but that's the plan, man. Anyways, the plan is try to get a 10K by the end of the year, and we'll see if we hit that goal. So let's see. The milestones were received. However, the dates don't look correct. Please see below screenshots. So we have departed. Yep. So I see that date. Then we have arrived, departed from transshipped. We only need the most recent transship date. Okay, so that makes a little bit more sense. Then we have estimated arrival at POD. So let's see, what are they showing in their system? They're showing, oh, those are wrong dates. Sooner than end of the year. Hopefully, man. Hopefully, we'll see, right? Again, I am starting to see more consistent growth, which is good. Um, you know, like I'm getting followers every day. There's some consistency, so it's a good thing, right? Watch time is higher. Everything's going up. So you're right. Maybe a little bit sooner. Um, but hopefully we'll hit it by the end of the year at the latest in a way. That's the hope in a way. What are we now? We're in damn, we're about to be May already. So we're getting close to half of the year. But yeah, hopefully we'll hit that milestone by the end of the year. Then once I do hit it, then yeah, man, I'll make a video and an announcement related to that. Hey Steve, we got Steve in the house. Hi Lou, good afternoon. Greetings from Costa Rica. Hey man, what's up? Can you give us a piece of advice for us, the beginners in data science, Python, etc.? I'm sure there's a lot of folks interested in your content. Cool. So, when you say beginners, are you referring to how to get started? Are you in college right now? Like, are you going to school? Are you referring to like how to get your foot in the door? Like, you do you want to become a data scientist? That's kind of what you're asking, I guess, when it comes to getting started. Um, you didn't say programming, you said specifically data science. So obviously, if you're trying to get started into data science, Python is, I will say, the way to go. Obviously, get familiar with the Python programming language, and then start getting familiar with a lot of the packages relates to data science. Start getting related. Getting familiar with the different data types, right? Like data frames. Start getting familiar using like pandas, NumPy. Like those are like the core. Like I'm not a data science guy, but those are like some of the things that I'm mentioning. I do deal with data. I do deal with you know manipulating data, managing large data and memory to do some transformation, the things of that, and that's you would have to deal with stuff like that, obviously, right? Dealing with data science, but for sure, Python and SQL, yes. If you're dealing with data, you're gonna be dealing with all kinds of data, and obviously, databases is one of the core data sources for data. Um, but then you also got to deal with other data sources as well. So you got to get familiar with different data types as well, like different data sources. SQL, relational database, as an example, is one main database. Like most systems, that's what they use. They use a relational database for the backend, and then also get familiar with other types like Parquet, CSV, JSON are some of the main types. But even when you're dealing with, when I say CSV, you got different types of text files like comma delimited files, tab delimited files, pipe delimited files. Start getting familiar with the different nuances with text files, UTF-8 encoding, UTF-16 encoding, double quotes around values. Why, when you're getting data, it makes sense in some cases to have double quoted your values in double quotes, especially if it's like a CSV, like a comma delimited file. Because if you have a comma in a value, like let's say an address of some sort, then it will throw off your parsing, your transformation. So there's a lot of little nuances like that for sure. Um, it's all your effort and hard work. Hey Lou, oops. OOPS or functional programming. They're both good. They both got the purpose. I normally do OOPS. All of the programming that I do is that functional programming. I really haven't had a true need for it, but there's benefits for it, obviously, you know. So there's a need and a purpose behind it, and it comes in handy. It just I really haven't had a true need to be strictly functional only. So for that reason, I don't really my projects are not in that manner, you know. NoSQL trending these days. NoSQL been around for a while when you think about it. It's been like what 10 years plus or so. It's been around for years now. Um, it's kind of up and down. Like I say when it first kind of became, at least to me, very popular. Maybe it was like 5 years ago or 7 years ago. Maybe it was like seven, and it was like, oh, NoSQL was like very very popular at the time. I feel like, and people that I talked to, I recall back then, because I wasn't as expert. Like I don't call myself an expert now, but I wasn't as seasoned of a programmer back then as the way I am now. You know, but I was more of a database guy back then. So back then, my database skills were a little bit more strong. And I remember talking to some programmers, and they were like, "Yeah, like we're gonna try to switch our database to NoSQL because NoSQL it just and dude, it was a disaster. I can tell you that right now because even though NoSQL has its purpose, right? Um, when you're dealing with transactions, again in a transactional manner, we're dealing with a system that's transaction based. That's one of the benefits of a relational database, man. Relational databases work very well for transactional systems. A good example would be Amazon.com, right? Just the normal Amazon store. Dude, they don't use NoSQL for their database. They actually have a transactional database, and they use their own database, the Amazon Aurora. I believe is the Postgres engine version that they use. I believe so. I could be wrong, but I believe it's a Postgres engine version. That's what they use for their backend, and they were at one point using Oracle, but they got rid of it. They replaced it with their version, right? Their own in-house product with this Amazon Aurora, and dude, it's able to handle everything pretty smooth. But again, they did not switch to a NoSQL database, and there's a reason for that. It's not ideal for transactional systems to use. I'm not saying you can't use it. It just relational databases. That is one of the benefits. Like one of their strengths is for transactional systems. And then, so yeah, that's kind of where even though there was a big trend, but I feel it kind of calmed down. But it's still like up and down, right? It's like it kind of gets popular for a little bit, then it kind of calms back down, then gets popular and then calms back down. It's kind of up and down. I feel like. Is Python programming mostly functional? No, it's not. Python. So, oh damn, my camera shut off. Let me see. Let me reconnect. There it goes. All right, cool. So I don't know why it shut off. It should not have shut off. But either way, once I connected to my phone, which I'm reconnecting now, it came back on, which is kind of strange. What was I saying? So Python programming is mostly functional, right? So it is not. You could do functional programming with Python. Like by all means, it's possible and it's doable. But it's kind of like C#, and other pro Java as well. You could do JavaScript. You could do functional programming in JavaScript, but you could also do object-oriented programming. Same thing with Python. You could do functional programming in Python. I don't see a crazy amount of functional programming though in Python. I would say I do feel it is more object-oriented programming. Now you could have, even though there is a lot of libraries or a lot of functionality in Python that seems to be very functional, but it's not built that way. It actually is more built in an object-oriented manner. You know, you got your classes, and then your methods, and just the way everything's built. It's more in the OOP model. But you could do both, right? At the end of the day, you could do both. It's issue with your camera. So I bought it for my camera because I did have an issue before. I did buy what's called like a dummy battery. It's like a fake battery. You plug it in, but it actually connects to the wall outlet, so it gives you nonstop power. So I got that fixed. What I need to see is why it turns off. Now I did notice when I connect it to my phone, it stays on like for a long period of time, but I shouldn't have to do that either, right? I know by default, I believe it should stay on for at least an hour, I believe, until it shuts down. So yeah, I'm not quite sure. I need to play around with it. All right, cool. So let's see. But yeah, Steve, I don't know if I answered your question or not. I don't know if you're still on or not, but hopefully I did. All right. And again, guys, man, I do appreciate everybody who's been following me here on my channel. You know, I've been getting a lot of support, which is awesome. And how I mentioned earlier, man, 10K is the mark, guys, for followers, 10K. So hopefully we could reach that goal, that milestone this year. Then when we hit that goal, how I mentioned, I am going to be doing a giveaway, and I'll be giving away a Mac Mini. So the only requirement is to be a follower. That's it, right? If you're a follower, your name's in the mix. If you want your name to be in the mix, obviously. And yeah. What's best framework for web application development? So I'll tell you what I use. I use two frameworks. I use Flask and I use Django. And I would explain on why I switch and I use both, because I use both even to this day, depending on certain projects that I'm working on. I use Flask when I'm dealing with web applications that require credentialing, like login, which a lot of applications do, obviously, and things of that nature, right? Maybe I'm going to be doing some, let's say, integration with Stripe, like payment processing. Django has some packages already designed for that, so it makes the setup a lot easier to get started. Django works very, very well, very optimal when it comes to Postgres database, which is the main database that I use as well. But it works good for other ones too. I used it before with Microsoft SQL Server. I used it before with MySQL, and all of that works fine. But yeah, what else? So that's normally what I use. Same thing if I'm doing, I use Django. For Flask, I use Flask, like, kind of give an example. I built this web service application that pretty much what it is, as you go to a specific URL, right? So this Flask application has no UI. It's all backend processes that run. But as you go to a specific URL, it'll run the job in the behind the scenes. Like, it'll start some kind of process. Let's say the URL could be, for an example, get orders from Shopify as an example, right? That's the name of the URL. And then inside the URL, I will pass in parameters, maybe some sort of name of the Shopify store or something, right? Certain parameters, so he knows which store, what client, I guess, that, for the store that I need to process. By me submitting that request in the URL, which is the GET request, it executes a job in the backend on Flask. And ultimately it does a few things. It'll call the Shopify API, it'll pull the orders. As they pull the orders, it'll get the data, which is the JSON data and the response. And then it'll extract that data, and let's say it'll load that data to a database. So it'll do something with it, right? Some kind of action. So I use Flask for that. I don't need credentialing. I don't need none of that. It's kind of more of I built all of these different services in Flask, and in order to execute the services was through the URL. And I use that. That's where I feel for that project, Django would have been very bloated for something that I don't need all this other stuff, right? Like, you got to keep in mind, Django is kind of heavy. It comes with a lot of stuff, and it's good when you actually use all that stuff because it makes things easier. But sometimes you don't need all that stuff. Sometimes you need like the basics, the core functionality, and that's it. And that's where Flask comes in. You could add on stuff to it, right? You could add on like the authentication and credentialing and all those aspects of it. But, it's very more lightweight. It's very basic. But in this case, basic is what I needed, and it worked like a charm, dude. It works very smooth. It does, it's very fast. And yeah, that's kind of what I have used it for. Is there any way we can deploy our web applications for free? I'm gonna say yes. Let me see if they actually still do it for free. It's called Python Anywhere. I don't know if they still do or not do it for free. So I'm trying to think here. Let's see. Let me share my screen real quick. So I used this before, Python Anywhere, strictly designed for Python only. Let's look at their pricing. So they do have a free one. There it goes, beginner free, a limited account with one web app. So you're gonna do one web app, and you could deploy your Django project as an example. I believe they have a setup for Flask as well. So Django or Flask, or it could just be some kind of Python scripts as well that's running. But this will be, I would say, the way to go. You could use this. Check this out. They do have a beginner account that's free. And again, it's very ideal for Python. So if you're dealing with Python web applications or things of that nature, you could check it out. Do you suggest any UI development libraries? What was your? No, you got another question for your Fast API is a new bug in Python environments. Yeah, so there are different APIs. Like Django has its own RESTful API. I use it, and honestly, it works good. Like I don't have no complaints. I have not tested performance. I believe the performance is good to decent. Fast API, again, I have read on that as well, is to what I'm reading supposed to be very like slimmed down and fast. And I mean, that's probably where the name Fast API comes down, because it's not so bloated and it's, pretty somewhat optimal. But I have not started using it yet. The one that I have used the Django API framework, and then also did some API development on Flask. And out of the two, Flask is kind of the more popular one for sure, from Django and Flask. But I know Fast API is getting more popular, right? It's like the new framework. I believe it should be production ready now. I know the last time I looked, it was not production ready, but I want to say it's production ready now. I could be wrong, but I want to say it is production ready. And I want to say this framework may be based off very high performance on pair with Node.js and Go. Yep. Okay. And then again, that's one of the key features of it as well. So I just haven't had a true need for it to really start using it yet. But I think once I do get to that point, then this is a framework that I think I'm going to be testing and looking into, based on the performance that I have seen and all of the features that it has. But the one that I have used for sure have been the Django. So it would be Django RESTful API, which is this one. So this kind of talks about it. I have used this many times, and it works very well. Very easy, straightforward. I would say, at least based on what I have heard, performance, I don't think it would be on par with Fast API. So again, performance is a must. That's where I think Fast API would be for sure beneficial over this. But obviously, I mean, this is being used by other companies right now, and in production environments as well. I have used some apps in production environments as well. So I was planning to make a web application to read and query Parquet files. So if you create a web application, there's a few options you have. It just depends on your approach. Like my approach. So, and again, let me rephrase it. If you're using a service like, let's say, Azure or AWS, right? I don't know if you are, but let's assume that you are using one of these one of these cloud providers like AWS, which means let's say your app is deployed to an AWS, whether it be Docker or AWS EC2 instance or something, right? But you have it deployed in AWS. Obviously, you have a few options. One option would be you could probably create a Redshift serverless instance. Again, serverless is keyword because you only get charged as you use it. And ultimately, this Redshift serverless instance, you would create what's called external table. The external table will connect to your Parquet files, like a folder in the S3 bucket that has your Parquet files. So which means instead of having to load the data directly to Redshift, what you would ultimately do would be connect them through external tables, and then you could query these files on the fly as you need to. And because Redshift is serverless, you're not being charged by the hour, you're being charged by usage. So if nobody uses it all day, you don't get charged. But let's say the next day somebody uses it to run a query for one hour, then you get charged for 1 hour. As an example, right? That's an option. If you're trying to query Parquet files directly, then I would probably say use Panda. You could use a data frame, right? So use Pandas. Data frame would be your probably your easiest option. And they're the way to see where it says part, not to, will be from. Where is it on here? From Panda read Parquet. There it goes. That's what it's called. It's called read Parquet. So this will be your other option. If you're gonna be doing it directly on the server or wherever you have it and be reading raw files, your option would be probably something like this, or use Pandas, have Pandas read the Parquet file. And then once it reads the Parquet file, it'll, create a data frame, and then you could run, apply filters based off of that to query your data set. And then ultimately, you get your response back, and that response, you could feed it to your front end, the UI, to display the results as an example. Yeah, there you go. So you're going to use Panda, or PySpark is another one. You're right. I don't know why I didn't think about that, but that's another option. I have used that before too. So Panda or PySpark, they both would work. They're both going to get the job done. So you could get that installed. And PySpark actually may be a little bit better in performance, I believe. But yes, both options will work. And that would be the way to do it. to be able to have your code read it directly, like read the files, pretty much put in a data frame, apply your filters if you're running filters, and spit out the result back to the end user for sure. All right, let's see. Let me check my email. I think I got some emails right now. All right, so let me go back. All right. So on your project, the one, what you mentioned, I missed one of your questions. How does Azure cost on web app development? I don't know, to be honest with you. Like, I use Azure, I use Synapse, I use SQL Serverless for one of my clients on Azure, so we do some of that stuff. But when it comes to web, deploying web applications on their services, I'm gonna assume it's similar. Again, I'm making assumptions here, similar to AWS, but I'm not sure what the actual cost is. I would have to look and see. AWS obviously varies. Like, if you open up an account with AWS, then you have a free tier version that you could get. It's an EC2 instance that's free, very basic, minimum resources. So depending on what you're doing, if you're doing some heavy data processing or loading a lot of data into memory and things of that nature, then yeah, the resource may not be enough. But if you're not doing nothing too intense, then yeah, you could use that free tier. You get a free tier license, which is their entry level EC2 instance that they have, and yeah, it's free, so you can use that as well. And then you should be fine, until it's ready to upgrade. But I know once you get to the point where you're paying, like you're in the paid version, it's nothing crazy, but it's like maybe like $10 a month. And so it's like free, and then it becomes, let me see, I'm trying to think what the cost is now. I want to say it's something like 0.00, maybe 5 cents an hour, something like that, times 24, so that's 12 cents, times 30 days, at like $3.06. So it's like $4 or $5 maybe to once you get to the paid version. And then it goes up from there, become like $8 and $12 and $20, and so on, right? Based on more CPU or vCPU and then RAM and all that. But again, they do have a free tier, which is, I believe, 1 vCPU and like 512 megabytes of RAM, maybe something like that. So there is a free tier plan, but just keep in mind though, as long as you're not doing nothing memory intense, you may need to upgrade to at least get 1 gig of RAM. Let's see. All right, kind of going back to what I was looking at over here. So, hey Lou, 2 quick questions for you. All right, what's your question? We have Chester 908 in the house. What's up, man? So let's see. All right, so let me find this container. Oh, this is the other container. What's the master bill on this? I don't see it. Hey, my fault. thought enter will go to the next line. Gotcha. All right, let's see. What's your question? All right, let me look at the procedure now. Now look at this procedure. Let's see. So we have second leg, discharge port, which is the vessel arrived at transshipped. And I believe that's what they want on these. What's the next one? Departed from second leg discharge port. Vessel departed from transshipped. Oh, I think this is it. So what I'm wondering now if we are needing to bring data from Redshift, S3, your RDS, MySQL. I think I have the Redshift to S3 down. Do you think Glue can handle the S3 to so pretty much it sounds like are you migrating data from Redshift over to MySQL? That kind of what it sounds. That's the main goal, right? You're trying to migrate data over from Redshift over to MySQL. So there's aggregated data. Okay, gotcha. Okay, so you got detailed data MySQL. My bad. You got detailed data in Redshift. I'm assuming you have some kind of query or view that's aggregating the data, and then it's going to save those results to an S3 bucket. And then that raw data that you have in S3, whether it be CSV, Parquet, or whatever, but nevertheless, that data, now you want to go ahead and import that into MySQL. So if that is the case, then AWS Glue will do the job. Yes. Thank you so much for so much insight. Yeah, man, no problem. Again, man, have a good weekend, and I'll talk to you next time. So do you think Glue can handle the S3 to relational? Yes, it can. It can handle that. I actually do that today. I don't do it with MySQL, but I'm doing it today with what database I'm using? SQL Server and Postgres. I'm doing it with those two databases today, where I'm using. Kind of give an example. One of my processes that I have, we're exporting data from another server. It's like another server, QuickBooks Enterprise data, and that data get exported out to a CSV format. I have a process where I push that CSV file to an S3 bucket. So now it's again raw data S3 bucket. I'm using AWS Glue to read the data, the CSV data in the S3 bucket, to load it over to my SQL Server database. So and it loads in, which happens to be an RDS instance as well, like yours. But again, it's SQL Server. In your case, it's MySQL, which wouldn't matter. It's the same concept, right? So yes, to answer your question, it is doable. Yeah, pretty much. Nice. Thank you. I will work on the second portion of it. Yeah, man. Let me know if you have any questions on that piece, if you need some help. I don't know if I have a video related to that, but I could easily make a video if you need some help with that piece anyways. But yes, you can do it, because I'm actually doing it today. I actually build some Glue jobs that does exactly what you're asking for. All right, so this issue that I'm working on, I think I figured out what the issue is. I think I could share my screen. There's nothing proprietary here, so everything should be fine. So the issue that I'm having here, we added some logic where we're changing the descriptions. I think the problem is when we get multiple legs, like here's one leg, here's another leg. When we get leg 3 and leg 4, today they're not mapped to anything. They should be mapped to this, and that'll allow to provide the updated event, which is what they're asking for. So that should solve that issue. So let me do that. Let me go ahead and update that. And then I'll let the client know. I'll see if we get another example so we could test this out. But yes, I think this should fix it. All right, I need to get the data, so I need to not show that. Cool, but yeah, man, at least I think I got this straight now, which is good. All right, guys, so I'm gonna call it a day for my live stream. Again, guys, one thing I mentioned, man, I'm a big fan of trying to set goals, try to meet some goals. My goal is hopefully to get this channel, my YouTube channel. Again, I'm here to try to help y'all out if I can, man. Anything I could help out with, knowledge, try to answer questions, by all means, guys, anytime I'm live, jump on. I'll be more than happy to try to help out whatever way I can. One of the goals that I set is to hit 10K, hopefully by the end of the year, right? So I'm at 2,600 followers now, try to hit 10K. So hopefully we get there, guys. That's the plan. Hopefully we could get there. All right, you know what? I just saw your second question. So I guess before I leave, let me try to answer your second question. We are needing to publish a report to our WordPress site and licensing for Power BI premium workspace, which is $5,000 a month. Haven't looked at quick sites, but is pricing generally the same? So for quick sites, it's actually, I think it's going to be the pricing slightly different. I was actually looking into that 2 days ago because I was looking into a project of potentially doing that. So the quick sites, the way that works, the pricing is there's a monthly fee of, I want to say $18, maybe $24 a month, right? And then after that, it's based on data consumption. So as people are using the report more and more, you would be charged based on the amount of requests that's occurring on that report. So if it's going to be, I don't know, let's just make up a number, but let's say it's like 20, 30 requests a day on that report. And just try to do the math real quick. And let's say, I don't remember the number, I got to look at it, but I think it wasn't nothing crazy, maybe like 10 cents per request or something like that. 30 times a day, that's $3 times 30 days. You're talking about like $90, $100 plus your $24 a month fee. So you're looking at about $150. But if you have like hundreds or maybe even thousands of people using this report, and it's hitting, they're querying that data often, right? 1,000 times a day. I don't know, let's say like 500 times a day. Then yeah, I guess that's where it becomes a little more cheaper. It'll be, $2,000, I guess. But yeah, man, it's we could review the pricing because I was looking into it 2 days ago, actually. So whenever I'm on again, we could go in more detail. But it's more, their model, it's different than Power BI, their premium model, which is like a $5,000 fee setup, where with quick sites, it's kind of more on a per use basis. But again, it does matter if people are using it at a high volume compared to a low volume. But we'll go more details, man. We'll kind of, there's some setup that has to be done and all that as well, but we could kind of go over pricing in the next stream in more detail. All right, man. Again, like always, guys, do appreciate it. Remember, guys, man, if you're not following me, if you could give me a follow, man, I appreciate it. Once we hit 10K, guys, how I mentioned, I am going to be doing a giveaway once I hit 10K subscribers. So, and the giveaway is going to be a Mac Mini. So I'm going to be giving away a Mac Mini. Whoever wants it, obviously, right? But anybody who wants to be part of that giveaway, raffle. But I'm gonna give away that item whenever we hit the goal of 10K. So again, guys, appreciate it, man. Thanks for following. Thanks for watching. And yeah, man, be on next time. We can talk then. Peace.